Okay, this is going to be an overview of Ember.js, which appears to be a pretty popular framework in addition to Angular that we've been learning. So this is going to be the general information part of the video, and I did this with Katrina Roaix, and she will be doing the demonstration portion, and we'll combine these. Okay. The first thing that I noticed was similar was data binding. Binding, as we know, creates a link between two properties such that when one changes, the other one is updated to the new value automatically. So just like what we've done with Angular, you'd have an input with the value of name or whatever you'd want it to be, and then when you call that within the curly braces, they automatically update, basically. Okay, another similar aspect is routing, and since these are single page applications, the routing helps people to feel, I guess, comfortable with the fact that it's bouncing around and showing them where they're going. Routing exists in Ember.js in the same way it exists in Angular, or at least it looks similar. To use routing, Ember expects you to define a user route, a user controller, and user handlebars, .handlebars. Handlebars are these symbols, which we've called curly braces, but that's what they're called in Ember. Now, when I said user before, that was defined here, but if we were to change it to something like Apple, then it would expect us to have an Apple route, Apple controller, and Apple.handlebars. And I guess a .handlebars, from what I've looked at, is a type of file associated with Ember. Okay, another aspect here is defining components. And one advantage of Ember is the creator of Ember also works on the W3C. From this position, he's able to future-proof the process of defining elements and making sure it will work by locking in the syntax of defining an element. So, here's an example of two created elements and their given definitions, or I guess you could actually, these are properties. These definitions will automatically be binded when displayed in the handlebars, as you see in the bottom example. So this so text within the handlebars here will be given the ASDF value, and the such text here will be given this trout, which is the name of the person who was showing some information on this. And that is the general information portion of this basic tutorial. And coming up, you'll see the example by Katrina.
Hi, my name is Katrina Roaix. Bryan Reed and I decided to do Ember.js for our final assignment for this course. I looked for an example to do. I looked into the coding a lot and tried to learn about it and to make my own code, but I'm really new to JavaScript in general, so I decided to go through the guides on the Ember website and create this application. It's a CRUD, kind of like what we did throughout the whole course already. It has routing and everything down here. So I went through each step, the getting started, planning the application. It shows you what the application is going to do, what we're going to be working on. And then getting started, first you have to make your index.html file, which it gives you all the coding for here. Just copy and paste it. And then you have to download the style sheet and the background image and put them into the proper folders and make sure they're linked properly in your code to make sure they work. and it constantly shows you a live preview throughout each step to show you what it should look like and how it should work. And if you ever get stuck, you can just click here and it shows you all the code that you've done so far to make it work. Here you have to right click and save each of these links into your computer into a libraries folder for your JavaScript. And then it tells you, it explains each step, like where you put your code and what it does. So it's really, really useful. I learned a lot just by going through the guide for Ember. And first, it tells you to add a file for application in your JavaScript folder named application.js and a file for the router at router.js in your JavaScript file. And it says you can place them anywhere you like, but they're linked in your index.html like this. So you add this into your application code, and it tells you that this will create a new instance of ember.application and make it available as a variable within your browser's JavaScript environment. And then it tells you to add this code inside of js/router.js, and that this will tell ember.js to detect when the application's URL matches the slash and to render the to-dos template. Then you have to update your index.html to wrap the inner contents of body and handlebar script tag and to include js/application.js and js/router.js after ember.js and other JavaScript dependencies. So you have to add these to the bottom, and you have to add this code in here to wrap around your body, which I did as well, but this code is all done. I went through all of it to make it work in here. Next, you have to create a folder in the JavaScript folder named models, and make a file in there called todo.js and put the following code inside. And it says this code creates a new class to-do and places it within your application's namespace. Each to-do will have two attributes, title and is completed. You may place this file anywhere you like, but this code is assuming that you put it in here. And then you update your index.html with the script tag to make sure that it's linking properly to your application. So I went through every single step in here. I don't have enough time in this video to go through all of that with you, but I would suggest going in here in the emberjs.com/guides and just go through here and code it out and make this application. You can click enter on what needs to be done, do homework, and make a list, and you can click this button to make everything completed, and you can also clear completed, and you can just delete one by one right there. You can also make it to where you can see active, completed, or all, which is with routing, which we learned in this class already. Ember has a lot of differences from AngularJS, but I still found it to be fun, and I enjoyed learning about it, as I'm sure you have as well.